What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dare to Win Season 2, Episode 6. My name is Finn Hodges, I'm your host, and I am super excited to dive into today's episode. It's been about, 2 weeks since I've recorded the podcast. We've been super busy building Grouped, and we are excited to announce that we are launching on September 12th. So if you have a community and want to get on a platform designed for you to build a stronger brand through that community, I encourage you to check out Grouped.com. You can sign up for early access, or maybe by the time you're listening to this, it'll be past September 12th, and you can create a group of your own. Finally, the community platform you've been waiting for, you'll see that on our website, but we've been hearing it all the time from customers who are excited to get on the platform. There just isn't an optimal community platform out right now. A lot of brands use Discord and Slack, which they hate because they're so spammy. Most personal brands or creators won't even get on those platforms because it just doesn't have the interface or the functionality that their followers or community is used to. And then Facebook Groups is on Facebook, and no one really likes Facebook. It's also very intrusive and there's no privacy, and it does not give the creators or the brands who has the community access to their data. And at Grouped, our biggest thing is we want to give the brand who owns the community, or the group leader as we call it, access to the data. It is their community. If someone subscribes to your community, you build a list out of those customers, or members we call them. But anyway, without plugging Grouped more, I want to jump into the topic. And the first thing I want to talk about, I don't really have an agenda today, I'm just sort of going to talk. But it is about Grouped and how we're launching soon. And the journey's been really hard and fun. And I think those two things are important, because I think a lot of the reason why we didn't give up is because we truly love the journey. I'll talk about myself mostly, but as a founder, like I really had to learn how to detach from being happy when I get somewhere. A lot of people have that mentality where they're like, I'll be happy when I get this. And that makes it really hard to be able to do what is required to build something great. And obviously Grouped isn't even to market yet, so who am I to say it's great? But it is a very good product, and the platform is very good, and we've done a lot of things that make us very confident for this launch. And it's true, like we wouldn't be to market if we didn't love the journey, because for the most part it sucked. Like it was freaking hard. Like we got ghosted by pretty much everyone we went to raise capital. We got laughed at, all the classic things you hear. We had no money, like we had to bootstrap, we had to spend pretty much all of our own money to fund the product. And it was just hard, especially in the middle there. We couldn't find developers, we made some mistakes, we lost a lot of money, yada, yada, yada. And basically the reason we kept going was because we loved it. We weren't doing it for the money, because if you're doing things for the money, there's a lot of ways to make money, and you're gonna chase shiny objects. Like if that's your intention, you're gonna see something online like NFTs, and you're gonna be like, oh wow, like NFTs are the next trend, or TikTok SEO is the next trend. Like let me make an agency and jump on that. That's not what we wanted to do. We love the problem we were solving of there not being an optimal community platform. We love brands, and we love personal brands. And that is why we were able to keep going. And we loved the hustle, especially talking from my perspective. I love swinging the bat. I love chopping at the tree with the axe. Like there's nothing I'd rather do in the morning than wake up and try to problem solve, than wake up and chase my dream, but also try to solve this massive problem and create something that I can call mine. And that to me is way more valuable than any result, any money, or it's way more fun than any result or any money that can come from it. So loving the journey is what enabled us to keep going and bring the product to market when all the odds were against us. And trust me, we were at the bottom of some pretty high hills. Like it was not fun or easy, but at the same time it was fun, because that's like what we love. I really think what separates like great entrepreneurs or great athletes or greatness in whatever form, even relationships, is that you're not in it for any end result, or you're not doing it for X. You truly do it because every day you love every process of it. You love the journey, and that includes loving the parts of it that suck. I'll use sports as an example because it's easier for a lot of people to relate to. If you are a football player and you love football, that doesn't mean you love every second of the grueling training that goes with it. But at the same time, in your heart, even though you hate it in the moment, you do love it. that's what you would choose to do anyway because you love the journey. You have that much passion for it. It's very hard to put this type of passion or love into a sentence, like to describe it, but I'm telling you guys, like, that is what you need, and that is what is required if you want to bring something to market that is big, or if you want to succeed, or if you want to continue to grow in your career. So with that, I wanted to touch on like the main thing of this podcast, which is going to be comparison. I've been talking a lot about this lately because it's been present in my life as well as my fiance Claire's life, who is growing like hotcakes on social media. But we often find ourselves struggling with a comparison trap. And Theodore Roosevelt, an American president, pretty popular guy, he once said that comparison is the death of all joy. And that couldn't be more true. It took me a while to realize why some days would be bad for me. And looking back in hindsight, I'd say those were always the days where I'd study all these big business owners, but I'd let it go deeper than studying them. And instead of studying them, I'd start comparing myself to them. And I start wondering why I wasn't where they are, and immediately feel like crap. Like, that will always make you feel like shit. And there's like so many reasons why doing this is just not a great idea. Like, obviously, number one, which is the most obvious thing, is social media is just a highlight reel. LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, like, everyone's just gonna post stuff that makes them look good. It's not real life. Sure, people can be giving value and they can paint this picture, and you could probably tell they have a good life, but like, comparing yourself to what you see on a social media feed is very silly. Someone could have 1 million followers and they could be really struggling. Okay, someone could have whatever, consulting business on LinkedIn and lots of clout, and they're working 14 hours a day and they hate their job and they actually don't like doing it. And you get what I'm saying, is comparison is always this trap that we don't even know what we're comparing ourselves to anyway. And the second thing, which is really more prevalent, is that most of the time when you're comparing yourself to someone, they've been doing it for 5 to 10 to 15 times longer than you. So if I'm here, founder of Grouped, and Grouped was an idea just 11 months ago and it's not even to market yet, and I've been doing entrepreneurship for like 3 years now, and I'm comparing myself to someone 10 years in who's a seasoned entrepreneur, obviously I'm gonna feel like shit, and obviously I'm not as good as that person because they have 7 years on me. They've been doing what I've been doing for 7 years. Even if I'm hustling more than they hustled, they still have 7 years on me. So just by the results of their consistency, like, they're gonna be higher than me. So by me comparing myself to them, I am putting myself in a pretty big hole. I tell this to Claire all the time. She's growing like hotcakes on social media with 125,000 followers now at the time of this video. And when she falls into patterns of comparing herself to creators with 500,000 followers, she sometimes thinks her content's not as good. And I explained to her, it's just as good. You're probably growing quicker than they did, but guess what? They've probably been doing it for 10 years or 5 years, or jumped on TikTok 3 years ago when it was easier. And that's why they have more followers, like, not because they're better. And just by eliminating that comparison in your life and when I do it in my life, like, you're gonna take that negativity out of your brain and you're gonna feel a lot better. Because your brain, it's like a gas tank. You only have so much room for energy, and that energy you let in can either be negative or it can be positive. And if you let in too much negative energy, you're not gonna have that much room for positive energy. You only have so much mental space. So the more you let in that will drain you, the less room you have for the things that will push you forward. So that's why it is so vital, guys, just to stop like comparing yourself to other people. It's my biggest flaw. I do it all the time when I'm studying other entrepreneurs. Like, it is great to study people. It is great. But you gotta just draw the line of when it comes to comparison, or when it comes to other people making you feel like crap, because it's the same thing with fitness. I used to do it all the time. I could think I'm in great shape. I can look at myself in the mirror. I'm like riding a high. Then I go on Instagram and I see some fitness model and they're ripped, shredded to the bone. Yeah, I'm gonna feel like shit, like, wow, that person's more fit than me. But the reality is, in life, there's always gonna be someone more fit than you. There's always gonna be someone with more money. There's always gonna be someone XYZ better than you, or they're gonna make it appear like they're that way because of social media, and it's gonna make you feel like crap. Because for all I know, that person who's shredded to the bone could be miserable because he spends all 24 hours of his day thinking about food, tracking food, never going to social events, yada, yada, yada. And really, he would kill to be as fit as me, considering I do everything I want with food. I'm not actually saying I'm fit, just for the sake of comparison. Okay. But you get the point. Like, and I actually am fit, but okay, anyway. You get the point. Just stop comparing yourself, because you really have no idea what's going on with people's life, and it will hold you back. And it will strip you from feeling good about yourself. And another thing I've learned in building something is that when you let yourself feel good, which you should, letting yourself feel good is a key, it makes building things a lot easier. Because like I said, it is hard. It is not easy to do things. That doesn't mean you have to feel like shit while you do it. Just because you're grinding 12 hours a day doesn't mean you have to let yourself feel like crap. I think that's why a lot of people fail. We prioritize in our house to make sure we feel good, to make sure, even though we have tons of stress and tons of pressure on us and big risks in our life, we're very calm, we're very stress-free, we're very happy. Like, it's just mental. Like, if we let that stress pile on us, or the thought of it, because it's there, if we let it into our heads, and this goes back to where I say you have like a door on your head and you have to keep that door closed and really protect what you let in. If we let the thought of that come in, we could get pretty stressed and pretty riled up, but we don't. Like, we keep that out, and that's work. We chose that. Cool, great, we love that. Remember, we love the journey. And I guess I'm kind of circling around a lot in this podcast, but I'm trying to give value in the sense where it's like, one, stop comparing yourself to people, and two, prioritize your well-being and happiness, because, and it, not in the sense where you're kind of like fugazi about it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what you let in your mind, okay? You control how you feel. You control how much you let that big risk you took stress you out. If it's gonna crumble you, don't take the risk. You're not cut out for it. If it's gonna just stress you out enough where you know you're gonna take action and protect yourself from failing, but you're not gonna become an asshole or this like worked up piece of whatever, then take on the risk. That's why I think, I mean, to be honest, if you looked at everything I was doing, you would think I was crazy. I'm taking tons of risks right now, spending tons of whatever, committing to tons of big things, and you would think I have too much on the plate, but it doesn't really get to me. I keep my cool. I'm calm through the chaos. I learned that quote through a book called Make Your Bed, and it was one of the, I think it was either Make Your Bed or Man Up by Bedros Khalil, but calm through chaos is another quote that I live by, because if you don't have the ability to remain calm, no matter how much risk or how much insanity is going on around you, you'll never be able to have clarity. You'll always let your emotions make decisions for you, and you're gonna lose. So I hope this podcast gave you value. I want to end it with one thing for all the founders out there, which has nothing to do with what I just talked about. It's actually something I learned this week that was very helpful to me. Helping people and giving value to people and serving others is the best thing you can do when you're just starting out as an entrepreneur or when you have a startup, because it always comes back around. We onboarded a lot of early adopting communities this week onto Grouped that were strictly from referrals of people I didn't ask for any spreading the word of Group. I didn't ask them for anything. About 3-4 months ago, I would say between 3 and 6 months ago, I really helped a handful of people out while we were building Group, just as friends. Just I connected with them via LinkedIn, podcast, whatever, and I just ended up talking with them. I gave them some value in some way, and that was kind of that. We stayed talking, whatever, and this is, I'm talking like literally a handful of people here, not just one. And within this last week or 10 days, whenever I announced that Group was launching on LinkedIn, I've gotten random people reach out to me, tell me that they were referred to by X person who I gave value to, and commit to being an early adopter on Groups. And I didn't touch anything. I didn't reach out to those people that, hey, I'm launching Group, whatever, like, can you spread the word? I didn't do anything. I just posted about it, and all those people returned the favor, or they gave value back to me. And this goes back to a classic business book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. But basically the theory is, give tons of value to people, always help, always be of service. Do not ask for anything in return, and it will come back around. It's just the way the universe works. It's just the way highly successful people think. If someone helped me, and I saw that whatever 3 months later they're trying to do something and I could help, I would absolutely go out of my way to help that person. The quote, what goes around comes around, is extremely true. And if you give that value, it's gonna come back to you. And I learned that firsthand this week, and it was a very powerful lesson to me, because it's very discouraging when you see things on LinkedIn like, know your worth, charge for your service, or people are selling things left and right, and you have a lot of value to give, and you just help people because you connect with them, they're cool, you relate to them, and you just want to help. You think what they're doing is cool. That's how it was for me and all the people I'm talking about. Like, I just loved what they were doing, and I knew a thing or two about what they needed help with, and I just wanted to help. I love it. Like I said, I love everything we're doing. I would never charge for anything like that, but sometimes that could be discouraging because you see these things like, you know how much you could be making, yada, yada, yada. But I'm telling you, don't. If you have your own ambitions, just trust that those people will come back around and repay you by doing the same thing you did to them, okay? So anyway, I hope this podcast helped. I know it was all over the place. I have no idea what I'm gonna title it, but I appreciate you guys for listening. Stay tuned because I'm gonna get back on this consistent flow. I know I've said that a couple times, but now that Grouped is launching on September 12th, at least after that date of launch, I guarantee I'll have a podcast up a week. I'm gonna try to bring some cool guests on, founders, personal brands, creators, maybe even investors. I know I'm excited to launch a podcast right before Group launches with Claire. We're gonna talk all things creator economy, personal branding, growing on social media, groups, our journey. So be sure to subscribe. I really would appreciate it if you followed me on TikTok and LinkedIn. And last thing I will ask is, if you got any value from this episode, please recommend it to one friend, okay? Just one friend. Click that share copy link button, send it to a friend, and please leave me a review. And when I see those first reviews up there, I'll remember those people. Like I just said, what goes around comes back around. And that's being in all seriousness. I really appreciate everyone who's supporting me early on, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.